Would you like to know how to best answer the interview question, what is your biggest weakness? You've come to the right place because in today's video, I'm going to show you how to best answer the question, what is your biggest weakness? Make sure you watch this video to the end to learn the 3 things you need to say in your answer to look like the right fit and look like the person who gets the job. Hi, I'm Jo Randolph and I'm a branding consultant based in London, and I help women become leaders in the organization and experts in their field. On this channel, I show you how to get the job you want, become a leader in your organization, and get highly paid to do meaningful work that you love and supports the life that you want. Come and join me and subscribe because I post new videos every single week. Anyways, let's get right into this. The fact that you're watching this video tells me that you have an interview coming up and you're doing everything you can to prepare for this important interview. But there is one challenge that you're just kind of struggling with, which is preparing your answers for the question, what is your biggest weakness? When someone asks you, what is your biggest weakness? It can be easy to not really know what to say. And don't worry, I've got you covered. Well, let's start with the #1 mistake you want to avoid when answering this question. And this is that you don't show yourself in a positive light when you answer this question. Now, many people try and think they are showing themselves in a positive light when they answer this question, but the reality is they're not. So if you are someone who's ever thought about saying things like, my biggest weakness is I'm a perfectionist and, I really want things to be great, and you kind of make it look like a double-edged sword. And I admit I used to do this. I actually used to say this in almost every interview that I was a perfectionist. But here's the thing. The reality is that employers can see straight through you and they know that is not really a weakness. So let me give you an example. Imagine if you were dating someone and you were having dinner and you were learning about them, you were asking them questions, maybe it's some guy, and you're saying, so where do you live? What's your home like? Describe your apartment. And he says, oh, I live in so-and-so, maybe I live in Soho, and I have this beautiful apartment, and you should come over sometime. So you go over to his apartment, maybe a few days later, and you have the shock of your life. As soon as he opens the door, you're like, oh my God, this place is a mess. It looks horrible. He's got plates and dishes everywhere. It's smelly. He's got mold in the bathroom. It's just gross. And you're just wondering, this isn't what I expected. When you saw him, when you were dating, he was all buttoned up, all sharp, looking and smelling good. But when you actually went to his home and you saw how he lived, you realized that it was absolutely awful. And this is exactly what companies want to avoid. They do not want to believe that you are a really strong and amazing candidate, only to realize that you have some flaws that just aren't workable and they want to get the hell out of there. So that's why it's really important that you actually don't use examples that aren't truthful, because now more than ever, they actually want the truth. They want to know who you really are so they understand both your strengths and your true weaknesses. Now, we don't have enough time to go into depth today, but if you want to figure out how to get the job you want, then I invite you to try my best job offer assessment. It is a really fun assessment that shows you the best job offer you can get and also how you can get it. To simply do this assessment, simply click on the link below and you can try it straight away. But for now, since we're here, I'm going to try and give you as much detail as I can. So the question is, how do you show your weaknesses without completely screwing up your interview? Well, I've got 3 steps, which are kind of really 3 things you can do to really answer this question powerfully and look like the best candidate. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to be really honest with yourself about what your imperfections are. Now, it's really, really important to do this because a lot of the times we don't really like to think about the worst parts of ourselves. We don't like reflecting on our mistakes. I know for a fact there are things that I've done where if I look back, I think, oh my God, cringe. And I really, really, really don't want to kind of go back to that era. But here's the thing. if you are honest about your mistakes, if you're honest about your imperfections, then you'll actually be able to find the gold answer that you're actually looking for in your interview. And the only way you can do this is by actually creating a list of all of the imperfections, all your imperfections. Now, here's the trick. A mistake many people make is they think imperfections are to do with, let's say, themselves, like they are an imperfect person, such as I am shy, or I don't know how to stand up for myself, or I'm not very good at this. But this is not about your personality. And the reason being, I don't have enough time to go into all of this in depth, but what I will say is that there's a book by Carol Dweck, which basically talks about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And someone that has a fixed mindset is someone who believes that they will never change. They believe, I am terrible at this and I'm not going to get better. Or I am shy and there is nothing I can do to, be courageous and do a presentation or whatever. So, and the things that you never want to show, and you actually never want to have fixed imperfections, because companies and people can't work with someone who says, I am flawed and there is nothing you can do about it and I am not going to grow and I'm not going to get better. But if you have a growth mindset, then you're someone that says, right now I am not good at this, but I will get better. And right now I am a bit shy, but I can do things to present and I can do things that will take me out of my comfort zone. So by imperfections, what we really don't want to do is we really don't want to think about or create a list of all the ways that you think you are, a messed up person or you're not going to make this work, because that is not healthy and that is not who you are, because you, my friend, are someone who can do this. You can do anything you set your mind to. So once you've got your list, the next thing is to become aware of why that was a mistake. So for example, for me, saying yes all the time meant that I always took on more than I could handle. And the impact of that was that I was always overwhelmed, always burned out, and I just was always tired and stressed out at work, which is one of the reasons why I actually left the corporate world to start my own business, which makes no sense now that I think about it, because I actually have to work a lot harder when I run my own business. But the point is that was a mistake that I made. I didn't know how to say no or to set boundaries. So become really aware of how the actions you have made have caused problems and get really specific. And then the third step is to craft and tell a story about your growth. So this is when you actually talk about your aha moment. So for example, think about a time when you made a mistake and you had your aha moment, your light bulb moment that made you change your behavior and never make that mistake again. This is a really great example to show when you talk about your greatest weaknesses. Going back to my example of being someone who said yes, for me, my aha moment was when I was working with a client and I had so many things to do, and then I had this realization that, oh my gosh, we don't have enough time to do everything by the deadlines we set. And so the actions that I took was I had a chat with my client and I basically made it clear all the things that we needed to do and said, how can we resolve this issue? And we actually found a way to prioritize and identify the most important tasks that would move the business forward, and also how to get the other tasks done also by the deadline. And by doing this, it taught me that it's actually really important to communicate and to always set priorities and to always have clear objectives and to always figure out the best way to manage tasks. So that would be my answer, for example. Going back so that you kind of see the full picture, if someone was to ask me or someone was to ask you, what is your biggest weakness? Instead of saying something like, I'm shy and I don't know how to say no, I don't stand up for myself, I'm always burned out or overwhelmed. Instead of saying that, which is very, very negative, you instead tell a story about your growth. In the past, I used to always say yes because my objective has always been to make my clients happy and to get the job done. However, I've noticed that by always saying yes, that sometimes it can be easy to be overwhelmed with lots of things to do. When I realized this, I decided to always think about setting priorities and always getting clear on the key actions I need to prioritize and focus on, and try and think of creative ways to get things done still on time. And that is something that I've been doing, and that is something that I've been getting really, really good at. So that is actually an example of a weakness, but it actually shows your strengths, and it also shows your growth, and it also shows that you are aware of your mistakes. And when you become aware of your mistakes, you actually do something about them. And that is it. That is how you answer the tell me your biggest weakness question, and you answer in a way that shows you in a positive light by showing that you are aware of your weaknesses, and more importantly, you do something about your weaknesses, and you're always someone who tries to grow and tries to become better at what you do. Anyways, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to learn how to get the job offer you want, and you want to learn how to get multiple job offers, then I invite you to try my free best job offer assessment. By doing this assessment, you will discover the best job offer you could get, and you'll also learn how you'll be able to get multiple job offers and really get the one you want. To do this quiz, simply click on the link in the description box below. I am so grateful you're here. I'm so grateful that we've had this chance to talk. Oh, out of curiosity, I would love to know, what answers have you been giving so far? I would actually really love to know what you generally say, because I used to always say, I'm a perfectionist. But yeah, I'm really interested in knowing what you used to say as well.